I remember when I first started making videos, I made 50 videos before I put out one. I was so afraid of what people would think, like, oh, Larry's not funny. When did he start doing things like that? I think it was my brother who like posted my first video because I couldn't post it. When I was making videos, I used to have to have a haircut. I used to have make sure everything was perfect. I just don't care anymore. I care what my loved ones think about me. I put myself out there in a respectful manner to everyone and just be who I've been, but I don't really care about what people think anymore outside that don't know me because I don't have time
Yeah,
to be
that's
thinking.
real.
I don't have time to think about what you're gonna say when I put this out. If you're gonna laugh at it, if you're gonna be like brush it off. I try to urge people to just do what you want to do, which is as cliche as it sounds. Again, just do it because you never know what who might see it, what might happen, who might want to talk to you, stuff of that nature.
Welcome to Bridge to Self, where we spotlight the stories of second and 1.5 generation Black Americans. I'm your host, Ben Arthur. Super excited to be joined this week by Larry Adigun. He is a Nigerian-American actor, writer, and director. He is known as hilarious on social media. If you're an African, have African parents, you've probably seen his videos, which have generated well over a million views across platforms, and between TikTok and Instagram has well over 100,000 followers. So he's big time, and super excited to have him on the show today. Larry, how you doing, man? It's
I'm
nice to meet you.
doing
Thanks for coming on.
no, definitely. I'm doing well. I'm actually surprised that you knew that I was a writer, actor, director. Is that in my bio? I don't even
It
know.
is. It is. Yep. I do my research, bro.
I don't tell much people that, but yeah, I'm happy to be a part of this. I apologize. I was supposed to be a part of it before earlier, but better late than never.
Hey, man, Sinners came out. You had to go check that out. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Amazing
Yep.
movie. If you haven't seen it yet, please
Yeah.
go.
I got to see it. It's still on my to do list. But yeah, for those of you watching, yeah, this is recorded around the end of April, and so yeah, Sinners just came out probably like a week or so ago. But yeah, Larry, again, thanks for coming on it, and let's kind of jump right into it, right? So being Nigerian, I was just curious how has maybe your those Nigerian roots, those that cultural context in your background played a role into like who you are as a man today.
Uh, Definitely, majorly. My parents were, well, my mom mostly was pretty much very not far removed when she came here. Even years after, right now, she's still not far removed. She had the upbringing of African parents with strict guidelines. Go to school, get good grades, come back home. Everything else was pretty much second, third nature or anything after that. So I was always like a person who in school was trying to get good grades, mostly because of my parents. Not really because of me, but I just knew that I had to get good grades until I got into like high school, and that's when I started falling in love with like math and science because I did graduate from college with an industrial and systems engineering degree. And yeah, I think it was basically all because of them, all the things that they taught me, all the it's like I like to say Karate Kid, wash on, wash off,
Yeah.
pretty much method, and the wash on is a belt. So like that. So yeah, my parents, they played a major part in who I am today, who I'm still becoming. So yeah.
So I was watching an old interview that you did. I think it was like 2016. So I mean, dang, that's 9 years ago at this
Yeah,
point. But
yeah.
hey, man, hey, I'm a journalist by
No, I
day.
love that. I love
Yeah,
that.
I'm a journalist by day, so I got to do my research before I talk to anyone, right? I don't want to just wing it. I don't do
Yeah.
that. But in this conversation, you're talking about how you discovered kind of your passion for acting when you were around 14 years old. And I think you even told a story about how you and your brother would do like a monologue, kind of like back and forth as young kids. So I'm wondering, what was it about? Like you talked about how in high school, like I guess you were maybe drawn a little bit to math, science, those types of things. But with acting, like what was it about the art of it that maybe pulled you in from a young age?
Um, I wouldn't say I was quiet when I was younger, but I pretty much kept to myself. A lot of people that see me from high school now are like, I didn't even know you were funny. I never knew you would do anything like this. So that's pretty cool to see. I don't take it as an insult or anything like that. I wasn't like a class clown, but I could make people laugh and stuff. But I was really good in school. So I just like the art of being able to be someone else, which probably sounds kind of sick, like being able to
It depends on the interpretation, but I got you. Yeah.
I love that, I love being myself, but being able to jump into character and be a completely different person, a completely different emotional state, a completely different
Mm,
vibe. That I think that's really cool, and it's always been very much interesting to me. I watch a lot of movies, and I try to study a bunch of different actors and actresses. I think they just call them actors now, pretty much everyone. But I just love how they can jump into characters and be complete. Like one of my favorite actors is Johnny Depp,
mm.
and the roles that he takes on. We're not going to talk about the Amber Heard and all that stuff, but but before that and whatever. But the roles that he takes on were very intriguing to me because they were way out of the norm. Like he played the Mad Hatter, Edward Scissorhands, and I think that takes a lot of skill and a lot of talent to be able to just jump out of your body of who you are and jump into this character. And I've always just loved that about acting, and that's what I want to do. That's always been my passion. That's always been the goal. I've had a bunch of detours on the way, a bunch of times where I'm just like taking time off, but I'm trying to ease my way back into it now, especially with projects that I'm writing myself, trying to put out there. So yeah, acting has just always been a passion for me, something that I loved and something I don't think I'll ever give up, even when I'm like 80. If I never make
Yeah.
it into the industry in Hollywood, just like, oh, I'll be a grandfather and somebody. That's the best thing with acting. You can be any age and
Yeah.
you can get a role, so that's why I love it.
So as Larry, as you mentioned how you're kind of easing back into it. So what are some of the, I guess, the commitment level towards it, right? Like clearly you have a passion for it, right? So like is it something at this point that you're committed to like doing full time, and it was just like a case where you had to work outside of the kind of entertainment industry to kind of support yourself, or like how, when you say ease into it, kind of getting back into it, like what do you mean by that?
Yeah. So the problem with well, it wasn't a problem when I was 18 and I graduated. I wanted to go to acting school, and then you can see how that can go over with African parents. Why don't you just do the math for them, then pop and then you can go and do that. See, my parents were always supportive, but they wanted to make sure I had the stable foundation first and then go to. My dad's like, you can graduate college and then after go do whatever you want, but I need you to graduate college. I was the first one of my dad's children to graduate college.
Mm,
So I think the level of how they raised me and how I am, I've always been scared to take that leap and be like, yo, I'm
mm,
just to LA. And you know what I mean? I always had to have like a stable foundation, and people would think that's a great trait. To me, it's a bad trait for me because I'm such a creative person. I wish I could just be like, let's just stop everything that I'm doing and go to Hollywood or go to Atlanta and just full fledged be an actor or be an entertainer or be in the arts of that. But I'm always just so scared to take that leap. So I've always been doing it half and half. Um,
mm,
Before it was more 50-50. As I needed to get more certifications for things that I want to do because I changed from engineering to IT, it was like 80-20. Then it became 100% just IT. You know what I mean? And I stopped
mm,
the acting stuff and I just did mostly just the videos, just to pass time. A lot of people don't even know that I don't necessarily even like doing all of those videos. You know what I mean? Not because
mm,
I don't like doing them, which is probably confusing. More of like, damn, I wish I could be doing something greater. I wish I could
mm,
be doing something bigger. Like these are these are small time things. I don't care about like the following. I love the people that follow me.
Yeah.
But I don't care like that. That's not like I'm not going around saying, "Oh, I got 70K
Yeah,
followers."
you're
Like,
not doing it for the clout.
yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
doing it for like. I remember one time when I was in college, a friend of mine who was doing videos, and very cool with him. Not calling me. He's like, "Oh," I was like, "Oh, what do you want to get from doing it?" Because he was building a following as well. He's like, "I just want to be viral." And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to. That's not what I want to be. It's not even about viral. Being viral can make you money, but that's not my passion. That's why a lot of people have asked me to be in comedy shows. A lot of people have asked me to do hosting gigs for money, and I've turned them down a lot
Mm,
because it's not what I necessarily want to do. I've always wanted to be an actor and be in the arts, so I'm just not passionate about it. Um, so easing back in, I read this book. It's called The 12-Week Year, and pretty much it talks about how a year in itself, it was made up. It's arbitrary. Somebody made that up. So it's like, why can't you make up your own um, version of year? So I have 12-week year. So pretty much a day is a week. A week is a month, and
mm,
I have goals that I have to try to attain, try to have to reach in that 12-week year. And each and every single day, I have to do these small tasks to get to that. And one of them is easing back into acting, or I wouldn't even say easy. I'm diving back in. I'm back on all my acting websites. I've auditioned already. I've been applying to different writing things. Like I just applied to Tyler Perry's writing fellowship, I would say.
okay, okay.
It's a film fellowship. It's funny because it's like $30,000 to do a film. I think they got 1,000 submissions, and then you have to budget it right. But I'm like, hey, I would get there if I got it. I'm like, oh, you know, I'm acting in this actually. I'm
Mm,
acting in the. I wrote the piece, but I
yeah.
put it in there for you. But you know, we'll see if we reach that point. But you know, I'm just throwing myself in the ring and throwing my hat in the race, and doing much more things. I'm actually putting out a monologue on my page tomorrow,
Okay.
which I've had monologues on my page before, way down, but that was when I had maybe around 10,000 followers. So all these new followers are going to see a whole different side of me because
Mm,
they're probably going to be like, "Oh, I thought you just do videos and stuff like that." Obviously, when you have followers, they want to see you on the biggest stage and do more. But I'm here to show them that like I actually act. Like
yeah.
I'm not Instagram comedian trying to get into acting. I'm an actor that just happens to
Yeah,
do
for
comedy.
sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm doing my best to just like set myself up. I think with the social media, and I love social media because you never know. You put yourself out there, you do all these things. There's actors that have commented on my page. I'm like, damn, if only I can get a conversation with them. And only if I like just to kind of bend the air and see what are the best ways. I've been told, oh, move to LA, move to I don't think you necessarily have to.
Yeah,
I don't think you necessarily, obviously you got to work there. If things go well, then you move there if there's something. But there's actors that don't live in LA and they work in
for
and out of
sure.
LA or out the country or in other states and stuff of that nature. But yeah, I'm trying to, I would say, wrapping it all back, like on all the acting websites that I was on before, all of them paid. Unfortunately, got to pay every yearly for them. I'm continuing to write. I write almost every day, and I'm just doing things that will try to put me in the best position to get where I want to be.
Earlier, Larry, you talked about that fear, um, almost that you have of maybe I guess, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like there's like a security that comes with what you've done, right? And you
Mhm.
mentioned IT that you're that kind of that space you're in, and kind of taking that leap full on, right? And so and you talk about kind of structuring your year, I guess in 12 weeks or however that book laid out. But what have you done you think that has maybe helped you overcome that fear to dive all in like you envision yourself doing? Because it clearly you want to be an actor. You're an actor. That's who you are. Just the comedic stuff on IG and TikTok. That you do that and you're good at it, but it's like you're an actor.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering what is the shift that you're making to overcome the fear that comes with diving completely into it?
That's a good question. I would just say, obviously, age. Like I'm not getting any younger. That is the most cliche thing, but I'm really not. And belief from loved ones. My friend Casey and my brother PJ. Like those are the people you want in your corner. Like they talk to me all the time about creative things that I send them things and they send me things out of nowhere. And I think when having that belief in me that I can actually possibly do this. So my brother was sending me something like, "You could do this role." He's like, I can see you doing this." Like, you know what I mean? He actually
Yeah.
really in his head is like, you can do this." And it's funny because now my dad, who has seen my videos, it's so funny because Nigerian parents are so irrational with their thoughts. They're like, "What? You need to go be talking to Tyler Perry. Go to like just go to his studio and talk to him." I'm my dad. So you want me to knock on the door of Tyler Perry? Hey, give me a role. You got to walk in. They're letting people in. You know they're doing tours on. I'm like, this guy's crazy, man. Like, but he actually believes in his head too. But that's also a thing with Nigerians or probably Ghanaians. Like they think he could do anything. If
Yeah.
you want to
Yeah.
go become an astronaut right now, they're like, all right, just go to NASA. They will, you can just fill out something for them. And then, you know,
No, that's a fact. That's a
that's
fact.
how it is. So honestly, it's the belief in myself because for a little while, just like I didn't believe that. I was like, maybe I'm not good enough to do this. Um, maybe I'm not setting myself up to be where anybody's at. And I've always been comparing myself to the other people. That's like my worst trait. I compare myself to other people and where they're at in their life in terms of acting. That's it. Are
Mhm.
at the age that they are. And
Mhm.
that's just something that I've been working on. I think I still do that, but way less than I used to do it because it used to be like, yeah, I should be here. I should be here. I should be here. But you see those posts of like people. Oh, they didn't start. I think Mashallah Ali. I think he didn't start acting until he was 40.
Wow, I
Maybe
didn't know that. Yeah, that's crazy.
I might don't quote me, but other actors and actresses have started extremely late, or you'll hear I'm seeing now. It's like, oh, this is his first ever movie. Like even Miles Canton, when you watch Sinners, he's one of the main actors. That was his first ever movie, and he's amazing. Granted, he's much younger than me, but he was like amazing. So seeing things like that, like it's like, oh, you can jump into that space, and I have some background because I've done industrial commercials, background acting for major streaming services like Netflix and Hulu, and I've done short films. I've done all that. I have an acting reel. I have headshots. You know what I mean? So I am I do have all the material and all the stuff. I think I just need like a chance. And a lot of times I used to say like it's crazy when you have all the talent in the world, but you don't have the resources. Like, you know what I mean? You need that you. I'm telling you, you need that one person to see you, or you need that somebody to just view you. That's why I say social media is so powerful and what it can do. So I'm like, yo, I have to put myself out there. I have to put this monologue out there. You know what I mean? It's been in my phone for so long, but it's like, okay, who's gonna press it? I gotta like press it and throw my phone away. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to see
Yeah.
it for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because it's just something different that the people that are following me haven't seen.
Mm.
And I think it would just be like, oh, where did this come from? Like, you know what I'm saying? So
Is there a fear with that? I know you don't really care about the clout that has come with all the what African dads, parents do and everything, but when people are starting to see this other side of you, and I know that you also have a separate Instagram page where you do reviews
yeah.
of like movies and TV shows that doesn't have as big of a following, right? So like when as you kind of migrate more and more towards showing people that Larry is an actor, not just the African parents comedian guy, like
Yeah.
is there a fear with what people will think about that transition?
Um, people. people are gonna have their thoughts about anything that you do. I remember when I first started making videos, I think in 2015, I made 50 videos before I put out one because I was so afraid of what people would think. Like, oh, Larry's not funny. When did he start doing things like that? When was this? And I think it was my brother who like posted my first video because I couldn't post it.
Oh wow.
I could not. I just physically could not press the button. So when I was making videos, I used to have a haircut. I used to have make sure everything was perfect. Now I just make videos and just look how I look. It's like if you look at the beginning of my page and now and just in the transition in between all the comedic things that I've done, um, I just don't care anymore. Like, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like I care what my loved ones think about me and I care how I'm perceived. So I'll make sure I put myself out there in a respectful manner to everyone and just be who I've been, but I don't really care about what people think anymore outside that don't know me because I don't have time
Yeah,
to be
that's
thinking.
real.
I don't have time to think about what you're gonna say when I put this out. If you're gonna laugh at it, if you're gonna be like brush it off, if you're gonna love it. I mean, if you love it, obviously, I love you. But if like I don't have the luxury of that time, I think we all don't. Which is why I try to urge people to just do what you want to do, which is as cliche as it sounds. Again, just do it because you never know what who might see it, what might happen, who might want to talk to you, stuff of that nature. And just you gotta remember, like you just don't have time. You don't have the
Yeah.
luxury of time to be like, I can't do this. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's such an important message to just kind of do it, right? Like, because at the end of the day, it's kind of how you look at yourself, right? Because you don't want to be that person who looks back and thinks, shit, like I wish I did that. And ultimately, like you said, like all these people, like most of them, like their opinions, you don't really care, and
yeah.
they're gonna die, and you're gonna die, and it's
Yeah.
like at the end of the day, like why was I stressing out about the opinions of people who won't be there at my funeral? Like,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? I think there's a lot of power in kind of releasing that.
Yeah.
So it's very cool that you've kind of taken that approach. I'm wondering, Larry, has because clearly everyone, even those outside of like the entertainment industry, have seen how much the acting space has changed,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's just with what the influence of the creator economy, of course, but like just with the streaming stuff that's coming up now, and we know the strikes that happened a couple years ago. At this point, just a lot of changes, and it seems like that there's a breakdown of what Hollywood used to be, right,
Mm.
and that whole space. And so, I'm wondering if any of those changes, if at all, have altered your aspirations in the space at all.
No, I wouldn't say so. Obviously that the strike was a scary thing, but it was for people that were fighting for what they believe in, especially in equal pay. Uh, AI has been coming very scary, and that was one of the I
Yeah,
think it's generative AI with making films and stealing people's likeness
yeah,
and stuff. But it's funny because that wasn't never in my mind when that was happening. I was like, oh, I don't want to be an actor no more. I don't want to be a creative no more because of all this like nonsense. That never came into my mind. I think with going into acting or going into any field, like you have to take a leap. And that leap you could jump into a hole and you can never dig yourself out of. Which is why I guess I thank my parents. I have the background that I have because you can always fall back on that, but that's my problem. I always think like, oh, you can fall back here, but
yeah,
just
yeah,
jump in with nothing else. But that I'm just not wired that way. I don't think I ever will be. It's I'm sure like it's a Nigerian like when you started your podcast, which is great. I'm sure you were scared. I'm sure being a journalist as a Ghanaian American, it might have came with some questions, but you're passionate about what you do, and I can see it in the way that you speak. You enunciate very well. Your questions are clear and concise, and it looks like you're made for this, and you were built to do this. You know what I mean? So
I appreciate that.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
seeing that in you. So everything's just a leap. So I think I just got to take that leap.
When you look at the end of your acting career, right? And this is clearly going to be a long time from now. What do you want people to say about Larry Adigun, that the actor, or how you made them feel? What's your goal in that regard?
I guess I want them to feel whatever in that moment that they're seeing, whatever I'm trying to portray. I want them to feel that, like, if it's a sad movie I'm doing, or if it's an action movie, or if it's a funny movie. But more over than that, I want people to know, like, acting is just one part of me. I want people to know that like, I'm a good person. I'm a helpful person. I try to help you whenever you can. Like, one of my mantras: if you can help someone and it doesn't take money out of your pocket, it doesn't take that much time, why not do it? Like, you know what I mean? Why wouldn't you do that? And I think you're a bad person if you don't. Like, that's just plain and simple. Like,
Mm.
you know what I mean? I just want people to know that this is a person that he's very passionate, very, very, I don't know the word. I'm getting having a word from him, but just very passionate and and loves what he does, and will just gets up every day loving what he's doing, and will do it for the rest of his life, second life. If I could turn into a vampire, I do it for the all the years that I am. It's just fun.
Larry, I wanted to go back for a second, and you talked about how you were very quiet as a kid, to the point to where I guess some of your peers from back in school were surprised at these funny videos you were doing and whatnot. And I'm wondering, do you think in just your quiet nature, it was really just a way of you observing people, to where that has kind of maybe connected to what you do or what you hope to do as an actor, right? Where you're able to take on different personalities and whatnot. Was it maybe as a case where, as a kid, you were just kind of taking in, like, oh, look at this, the mailman, or look at this lady going on a run, or the bully at school, or whatever? Do you think, in a way, the way you were observing the world was maybe kind of adding to what you would, I guess, later become or hope to become as an actor?
That's a good portrayal and good observation of possibly what, but I don't know. I don't think so. Like, I was quiet in the sense to people outside of my bubble. My friends, I was very obviously friends, the people I play sports with, um, my family. Um, I wasn't as quiet, I guess I would say, to them, but I used to be like a crier all the time. I used to cry all the time.
Okay.
So that was like my thing until I got to like high school when I was 14 years old. I just stopped crying because I was like, oh, I'm trying to get girls. My brother's like a cool guy in high school,
Yeah.
so I didn't want to cry anymore. But it's funny because I even in my when I lived with my mom, I used to be in the room in the basement. I never came up. Sometimes they never seen me for all the time, and they would like congregate on the island upstairs in the kitchen, like making fun of me or saying stuff, and I come up like, I know you guys are talking about. I've I've always just tried to keep to myself, and I think that's why I became started making videos. I'm very I'm very happy with the solace and solitude of just being by myself. Like, I don't have to talk to anyone for days. Like, you know what I mean? So
Mm.
with that, I think has created a bunch of things in my mind that I just wanted to put out to the world. I think I do observe people, um, but mostly on the TV.
Mm.
Mostly on the TV, because when I'm watching, I think that's why I started doing reviews as well, because I'm watching and I'm reviewing the acting and also studying the acting. And I'm like, oh, I like this movie. I don't like this movie. Me and my brother we love movies. We watch, like, where my favorite genre is horror. I've watched so many movies. It has to be well into the tens of thousands. At
Oh,
least.
wow.
No,
Oh my gosh.
at least.
Wow.
Like it has to
Okay.
be. So I just like I forgot the question. We're going on tangents.
Oh, no, you're good.
Observing people, observing people. So yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think I was really just I was observing people. I was a semi-quiet kid that just tried to keep to himself and was good in school, but I was like really rambunctious with my friends instead of people that I were comfortable with. Until I kind of broke out even more, I would say like my senior year into college. Um, yeah,
Even though doing those funny videos, as I've come to learn just through our conversation, even though that's not like the ultimate goal for you, I guess, is that a way for that you've, I guess, kind of worked on your acting chops? I mean, is it, I mean, they're kind of short bursts, right? Where it'll maybe be like a minute, 90 seconds or whatever. But even though that's not kind of the North Star, so to speak, but when you're in character, whether imitating an African dad or just kind of your response to what an African parent would be saying to you, is that I guess is all that kind of feed into what you hope to ultimately be.
yes, I think all of it is practice of some sort.
Yeah.
I think when I first started doing African dad voice years ago, I had a friend. She was born in Nigeria, and she's like, I don't really like the accent. I don't really think. And then now we fast forward to now. There's people who can't even recognize that that's me
The
doing.
voice, the dad voice, yeah.
I think that's insane
Yeah.
to me, but I obviously look at the way I talk now. But I just feel like you should know that is me doing the voice. People like that. I've gotten hundreds of
Mhm.
DMs like, "Oh, who's the dad? Can we? Who's gonna see that?" I'm like, "It's me." And the dad
Wow.
is they do want to see my dad, but I'm not going to show my dad. But they're like, I can't believe that. So I think, in essence, that has all helped me practice my voice acting. Um,
Yeah.
because I do voice acting too, and I have voice reels, so that all of that is acting to me. I first wanted to start a page, like I said. I never wanted to do. Well, I don't think I said this. I never wanted to do like an Instagram comedy page. I wanted to do a monologue page where I did
Mm.
monologue. I'm like, nah, people are gonna think you whack. This kid's a square. I'm not doing that. So I was like, what's a way that I can act and get a following, and it's for people or just for people to see, like you know what I mean? Didn't
Yeah.
expect it to be as big as it is right now, and it's not huge. I would say it's very modest, but I just wanted to be, I was like, I want to act and I want to show people that. And then I'll throw in some things. 'Cause I did write some short films. You got to go down, down. I haven't done them in a while. And I acted with people. I actually have a YouTube series on YouTube. It's called Close Call. It's 3 seasons, 4 episodes. Each season's like 12 minutes. So I was able to throw all of those stuff in there
Mm.
while I was doing these videos because I was like, okay, I need to keep people entertained. But hey, let me just throw this in there so you can see,
Yeah.
that I'm acting and stuff like that, or throw this in there. This is what I really love. But make sure you keep the people entertained. And I think I got away from throwing stuff in there, and
Mm.
I want to get back to that. Like I'll keep
Got
you
it.
entertained, but I'll throw that in. So I think all of that, all of the videos I have has helped me to hone in on some kind of acting skill. Even though it's mostly comedy, like I think that as I'm a professional as it comes to comedy, like in comedy movies and stuff. And it's funny because I always said if I wanted to do a movie, I would never want to do comedy first because I
Mm.
don't want to be typecasted. Oh, this kid is just good at comedy. So because
Yeah.
I have great comedic timing and I'm just good in comedy in general. So I was like, damn, I would
Yeah.
love to do like a drama or
Yeah.
a sci-fi film first. And then when people get to my page from like, let's say I gain fans from films or a show, it's like, oh, this kid does comedy.
Mm.
And then it's like, okay, now he could jump into comedy and do that. But you never know. And
Yeah.
I'm not at the place where I can be like, oh no, I'm not doing that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You have to kind of do everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta do everything that comes or anything that comes my way first within means because I do have boundaries on things. But yeah, I was like, yo, that my dream way to start my career would be to be in a drama film or sci-fi film or horror film because I love horror, and then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna jump into comedy, this comedy film real quick.
So ideally, would you like to be at a point where you don't have to do the comedy? Because it sounds like you're saying like the entertaining part has always been a way to get people to see you, right? But it sounds like it got to a point to where it was just the entertainment, and then you got away from kind of the other stuff. So do you want to get to a point where you don't do the like the African parent stuff or all the other comedy stuff, and you just do the drama or the horror or whatever it is? Is that kind of how you see yourself, or is there always do you think maybe you've gone to a point to where there has to be a balance
Yeah,
throughout?
there definitely has to be a balance. I do love comedy. I think I got to a point where I was like, oh, I don't even like my page. I don't want to do this anymore because I wasn't
Mm,
reaching where I wanted to reach, but I don't think I was going as hard as I needed to be to get to where I need to be.
yeah.
So I think comedy is definitely something that I will do for the rest of my life or be in some aspect of that. Even when I do movie reviews, sometimes I make jokes in there. It's always going to be a part of me. The project that I'm working on right now is an animation of African Dad. So
Oh wow.
I've written 4 seasons of it, and it ranges from adolescence to preteen. I mean to teenagehood to pre-adulthood and adulthood. 8 to 12 episodes each one, and the reason why I did that is because I was like, I don't want to dress up to be African Dad. I used to do that
Mm,
in my older videos, and I was so happy that one of my videos went viral of me just doing the voiceover. I was like, oh my god, I don't have to dress up anymore. I was like, that's it. Just takes a lot. Like you're doing
yeah.
different scenes. You're turning. I didn't know. I was like, oh, this is perfect. That like it went so viral. I was like, oh, that's I don't ever have to dress up as African. Like I can after this after this episode, I can send you like literally where it stopped. And it was right in 2024.
Oh wow.
Literally
Oh
right in
wow.
2024. I did the when your parents buy in bulk
Oh
video.
yeah. 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 Yeah.
And that video went so viral, I did another one. That one viral, I did another one. That I was like, oh my God, I don't have to dress up anymore.
Mm,
People are just liking the voiceover part of it. And that was right in 2024. And that's when I stopped dressing up and doing that. But before that, I was
mm,
dressing up in African Dad. But for the animation, obviously I want to play African Dad. I would play myself in the full fledged out stories. It splits reality and animation. So in the
mm.
beginning, it would be like a place like this. I would have African Nigerian tones and stuff, and I would speak to you about the premise of what is going to be happening. Like let's say we work from home. It's like, oh, Nigerians working is hard work, struggle, and this is, but it's going to be talking about the work from home stuff. That's the animation where it's going to go to. So it's like it snaps to animation. So it's like a full episode and full story. That's like my biggest thing that I've been working on my project right now. I'm actually talking to an animator right now because I want to make a concept trailer, a scissor reel. I wish I could make the whole episode and put it out, like just to show, but that's like 6,000 a minute animation. It's
Oh
very
wow.
expensive. Y'all,
Yeah. Yeah.
extremely expensive, extremely expensive. So I just want to make like a scissor reel concept trailer, sort of like how Bel Air did, and then became
Okay.
pretty much a show because it's insane to me the amount of people that relate to it. Nigerians, obviously, Ghanaians, Liberians, Caribbean people, Jamaicans, Trinidadians, Asian people like Chinese, Indian people, even white people, Italians. Like, look, oh, my parents is like that. My parents is like that. My parents just act just like that. So I'm like Hispanics as well. It's like, oh, I can't believe everybody relates to this. It's just all first generation or children of immigrant parents.
Yeah. They understand. Yeah.
They understand and they all and the show is a love letter to parents. I've had people come with like, oh, this is abuse, this is a thing. I love my parents. I love the way they raised me. They raised me in the best way they saw fit, and sometimes very it was yelling, it was trying to get their point across in a way that probably wasn't receptive to me as I was younger. But when you think now that I think about it, that's why I make the videos. I was like, why you did forget to unlock the door, you didn't take the chicken out the freezer, why, like, you know what I mean, this why. And I'm older now, so I'm like, oh, this is kind of crazy, like, why didn't you do that? You're drinking right now, maybe you shouldn't be drinking, like stuff like that. So to me, the show was a love letter to my parents. um and I named it It's Not That Serious. because I think that just makes more sense because it's like you're spasm, it's just not that serious. So it's like a love letter to my parents to pretty much say that I appreciate the way you brought me up, but this is still funny, like the way you did. So that's like my biggest project right now. So I hope
Okay.
that goes well.
Yeah, I'm just hearing how excitedly you're talking about that project you're working on, and I'm wondering how would you describe the feeling that you get when you're acting and you're creating, if you had to explain to someone how you feel internally when you're in your bag, so to speak, how would you, what words would you use to describe that feeling?
It's euphoric. It's nerve wracking. It's
Hmm.
nerve wracking, but it's a good nerve. It's like a good nerves. It's pressure because I want to do the best that I can. So I'm always like inside my head, but it works for me because you know pressure busts pipes, pressure makes diamonds. That's how I feel. I'm never. It's funny. I don't feel nervous about the people watching me or who's seeing like that transition of me like trying to being scared of people watching me and seeing like just to be like, oh, we're right there, we'll just do it. Like it doesn't matter. Like it's just it's a amazing feeling to be able to do what you love. It's like it's in a you don't like that's like the craziest thing about it. Like people spend their whole lives trying to figure out what they want to do with their life, and I knew at a young age what I wanted to do, but I just like, damn, I don't have the resources for it. So if I ever get that opportunity, I think I have the opportunity now, but if I ever get it on a bigger stage, it's I don't know how I'm probably gonna go back to when I was young and I was crying all the time. That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome, Larry. Well, this has been great. I guess where can people go online or on social media to connect with you, learn more about you, and I guess tap in with your work, not just your videos, but clearly the work you're doing as an actor.
So my Instagram page is hilarious one, spelled HILARRYOUS1. Um, yeah, my TikTok is Larry Adigun, LARRYADIGUN. Just be on the lookout on both of those pages. I think those are the easiest platforms for me to show you everything that I'm doing, whether it be me putting out that scissor reel that I'm talking about, putting out monologues and stuff, and just following the journey or so of my career. So I appreciate you even speaking to me, first of all, because you took the time out of your day to because you think that I'm somewhat important when I'm not.
Hey, man, you are, bro. You are.
So I appreciate
No
that.
problem.
And I thank you for having me on this show. I really do.
No
And
problem.
hopefully in some time, in some years, you come back and this is a full circle moment.
Absolutely, absolutely, and for all you listening, everything Larry said will be in the show notes. So please be sure to tap in with him. And Larry, last one for you. I ask this to my guests at the end of every episode. It's a bit broad, so you may need a moment to think a little bit.
Okay.
But what is one thing you believe that people can do more of to get a step closer to unlocking the highest version of who they are?
Uh, no, I think that's extremely easy because I've been trying to do that now. Like I said, you have to take steps every day, every single day. More like I'm not saying you have to be one of those people who are like, oh, I wake up at 3 a.m. to do those like business gurus or financial
Or
gurus.
Eric Thomas, yeah.
Yeah. But you have to take actionable steps every day. You can't sit there and sit back and be like, oh, I wish I was here. I wish I could be doing this. And then when you sit and ask yourself and look in the mirror, what have you done today to get to where you want to be tomorrow or the next day or in a year from now? What did you do today? What did you do that month? What did you do that week? So I think you have to take steps every single day. If you're a writer, write for 30 minutes a day. If you're an actor, practice scripts. People say they want to be an actor, but are you studying scripts? Are you trying to go to your local theater? Don Cheadle said some stuff like that. Are you studying scripts? Are you trying to go to your local theater? Are you really trying to be an actor? Are you acting in every way possible? So for me, personally, it's doing things like auditions. It's doing things like fixing my acting reel. It's doing things like practicing monologues, putting monologues out. So what are you doing every day to reach your goal? You need to take actionable steps every single day. And like I said, it doesn't need to be for 40 hours or 20 hours. Just like, okay, 30 minutes a day, I'm going to do this. That's where it starts. And that might lead to 1 hour, that might lead to 2 hours. But you know what I mean? You have to take actionable steps each day to reach your highest level. And I think that you will reach there.
Love it, Larry. Thank you so much for your time. And for all you listening, whether it be via YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, appreciate you guys. Thanks for tapping in. Appreciate you guys for continuously supporting the show. If you haven't already, subscribe to the show on YouTube. The show is also on Instagram, where I post all the clips and whatnot from the episodes. That's at Bridge to Self. Remember, it's the number 2, not TO, and then Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Be sure to rate, engage. Let me know how I'm doing. Want to make this the best possible podcast experience for you all. But you guys know the deal, every other Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central Time. But until next time, I'll see you guys soon. All right. Peace out.